This week in the markets, we talk row crops with the latest crop progress report and some thoughts from an expert. But first, the markets closed on an upswing with one exception. Let's take a look. The week's biggest gain, soybean oil up almost 2 cents, nearly a 3.5% increase from the previous week. The week's biggest loss, lean hogs, down over 90.5 cents. That's nearly a 13.5% decrease from the previous week. So, how did we get here and what do the experts say about it? Well, the recent crop progress report could shine a light on gains based on how this year's crop is going. But there's some rumblings that corn may be having trouble, and analyst Ted Seifried gives his thoughts on the matter. Here's Bella Bingham with the report, followed by Ted and his analysis.
In the 18 highest corn-producing states, silking, which is when the female parts of the plant form, at 56%. 2% lower than last year and the 4-year average. Dough stage, which is when the kernels accumulate starch and thicken, at 14%. Once again, 2% lower than last year, but 2% higher than the 4-year average. Condition looking pretty good, with 67% reporting good to excellent. In the 18 highest soybean-producing states, Mississippi included, blooming at 62%, 1% lower than this time last year and the 4-year average. Setting pods at 26%, once again 1% lower than this time last year and the 4-year average. Condition also positive, with 68% reporting good to excellent. In the 15 highest cotton-producing states, Mississippi also included, squaring, the forming of the flower buds, at 71%, 8% lower than this time last year and 4% lower than the 4-year average. Setting boll stage, which is when the fertilized flowers turn into bolls, at 33%, 7% lower than this time last year, but equal to the 4-year average. Condition improving, with 53% reporting good to excellent. Last report, it was 45%.
We don't have, pictures of terribly drought-stricken crops or super flooded crops. So what are we going to find? And we're going to find some pollination issues, which we find every year, by the way. And part of me is like, wow, okay, maybe this is something that's happening on a much bigger scale. I'm not really sure. I'm very curious to see what happens when I go out on crop tour in about a month and see what I see with my own eyes. But I also find it kind of funny that we are talking about pollination issues, but in the same breath, we're talking about a forecast 2 weeks from now causing pollination problems. So that is the most threatening short-term forecast we've seen since we started this growing season, but is not happening at a time where we're going through the thick of pollination. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's tough to tell. I feel like every year we find something, and you wonder if these pollination issues that you're seeing across social media is just this year's iteration of, oh, here's a problem.
And that's it for a deeper look into the markets.